Have you ever stopped and thought about what it would be like to know that you're dying? Have you ever stopped to think about what you might do with the time that you have left if your time was limited? For most people, that's just like this theoretical question, but for me, it's something I have to kind of live with every day, and I have for the past 5 years. My name is Amanda. I am currently diagnosed with 3 terminal illnesses and a whole other slew of diagnoses that I'm not going to bore you with. When I was first diagnosed, I came onto YouTube, looked for videos of somebody with heart failure's day-to-day life. I was unable to find anything. I realized that I could turn my really hard journey into something beautiful just by sharing my story. So that's why I'm here. There are also so many problems with our healthcare system and the way that we treat heart failure patients. I have encountered so many problems along the way over the last 5 years since I was diagnosed. It's really unfortunate. Heart disease is the number one killer in the United States. It's the number one killer of women. Yet, when I was looking for resources for myself, when I was looking for information, services, guidance, assistance, you name it, there was nothing. Everything that I pulled up for terminal illness was for cancer specifically. Everything. Like all of the practical things, the things that would really make a big difference on my life, have been impossible to find. I really think it's important that somebody brings attention to that. It's really hard to have your voice heard. I do as much as I can to make sure that mine is. I participate in every single research study, survey, anything I can do to contribute to the heart failure, the heart, just the terminal illness community in general. I am happy to do. I have gotten more and more sick as time has gone on. I have had one real big rebound, regression of the disease, which was incredible. That lasted for a year. I worked really, really, really hard to get there. Then I caught a certain virus that I'm not going to name. And that set me back into heart failure. I was fighting to get better for about close to 2 years of that, after all was said and done from that infection. Then I caught it again. And once again, I reverted back into heart failure. And I was 2 weeks prior to getting sick. I had started to feel better. So it was just shitty timing. So it was just not a good thing. So let me tell you a little bit more about my family dynamic. I have 2 boys. One is 17, one is 7. My 17-year-old lives with his dad in New Mexico. My 7-year-old son has a lot of problems. He's autistic. He is also extraordinarily supersonic ADHD. He is very, very, very distracted at all times. So he is a little wired ball of energy all of the time. He has kind of calmed down a bit over the last couple of years, actually, since he caught that virus as well. He had undiagnosed asthma at the time, so unfortunately it sent him to the ICU. He was there for a week before they were able to send him home. On the second day of his stay in the hospital, the doctor looked my husband and I in the eye and said, he was very close to dying, and he still could. I was numb, but my heart was breaking. It's just such a hard feeling to explain. I couldn't really process it I think I was in shock over that fact and just that knowledge. It was the worst thing I think I've ever heard in my life. All I could think was, I'm already sick, just take me. Lord, just take me instead. Thankfully, he didn't take either one of us. My son was healed after tons of prayers. So many prayers. And, we had such an outpouring of love and support from friends and family. And there's just so many people praying for him. I truly believe that helped him to pull through. It was an incredible, incredible experience. So that kind of happened with my son. Thankfully, came home, everything was okay, but he has a lot of issues at school. He has a lot of issues with regulation, both emotional and sensory regulation. He is such a sweet, loving, kind, special little guy. He is the most thoughtful kid ever. Um, and he's having a really, really hard time right now because of me, which just makes me feel awful. Everything he does, he wants to become a YouTube star so that he can make money and get me fixed, because he is deathly scared that he's going to lose me. He sees how sick I am, and half the time I just think he's not aware until he has these breakdowns where he's just sobbing and he's angry all the time anymore because he's watched his mommy get taken away from him slowly. And it's just, this disease destroys you from the inside out. It's slow, it's miserable, it's torturous. There are so many times where I have absolutely zero quality of life. This is an incredible day for me. I'm gonna cry almost. I have put makeup on for the last 2 days in a row. And for me, that is such a big deal because I haven't been able to put makeup on fully. Like, I'll end up with just foundation or something like that. I finally got my makeup on 2 days in a row, and I'm just so proud of myself. Like, that is such a huge deal for me. My goals are very small goals every day. Things like that, like get up and get ready, take a shower, clean off your nightstand. I mean, because chances are, after one of those tasks, I am going to be completely spent. Like, literally, my battery is dead, and I'm running on like one tiny little bar. It's frustrating because everything I do, I have to do in increments, and I have to sit down after like 20-25 minutes max usually, and I have to take a 20 or 30-minute break with my feet up. Just sitting down is helpful too. But there's a lot of times, because I have some severe problems with my legs as well. I have a condition called lipodermatosclerosis, which is just as weird as it sounds, truly. I'll talk more about that at another time, but it does definitely cause me a lot of, that is one of my most painful conditions. It's one of my hardest to manage, although I have had it under control for a while now. So I got that under control for right now, but it is a really rough condition. And I think that's an important rare disease to kind of make people aware of, because it typically happens to women in their middle-aged life to later in life. I hate the fact that I'm middle-aged. Like, I still don't accept that. I feel like I'm 20 with a 90-year-old's body. I don't know. It's weird. Like, your mind just doesn't seem to age the same way that your body does. Like, you still feel the same as you did at 20 or 15 and excuse me, I am wheezing. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. So, that is my sweet little Dawson. He's going through it, which inevitably, obviously, breaks my heart. Then we have my husband. We met and we just laughed. The one thing we've always been able to do together was laugh. And we laughed and laughed and laughed. And we just really had something special. as long as I'm laughing, I am a happy person. So he definitely ignited that in me a little bit more, even. He's a very serious, for the most part, guy. Um, he's got some issues of his own. He's borderline. He's bipolar. He's got anxiety. He's got a lot of stuff, well, all of it mental. And anybody who has lived and dealt with somebody with severe mental illness knows how tiring and how draining and how stressful and all consuming that can be sometimes. So he's trying very hard to get his stuff together. He just lost his job, and a lot of that was due to both his mental health. He was having really, really severe bad insomnia for a little while, and because of missing work because of me. Either I was too sick to get out of bed and couldn't care for my son and get him down to the bus in the morning, or it just seemed like there was always something that came up, and they just decided like it wasn't going to work. And after 6 months of working there, they booted him. That's somebody's livelihood and business, and it is what it is. But it definitely has made things a lot harder. We live in one of the most expensive suburban populations in America, I believe. We live in Colorado Springs. I hope that's not stupid to say. We live in Colorado, and excuse me, it is very expensive here. And I do mean very. It's not quite as expensive as DC, which is where we moved here from, but it is definitely pricey, and it's only gotten pricier. Excuse my voice, by the way. It has been really raspy and hoarse since I caught the virus, so I am so sorry. So my husband got stationed here at Fort Carson after we came from Walter Reed Hospital in Bethesda, Maryland. We came here, and he was there for 3 years, I believe, before he decided to get out of the military. There was a lot going on with that, and hopefully at a later time I will have the bravery to talk about that, but not today. It's just a very long story. So we moved to the complete opposite part of the world in this little area, and life was going really, really great. And then I got sick. I was on the verge, like literally in the process of opening up my life coaching business. I was getting ready to start this YouTube channel. I started waking up with swollen legs, and that kind of was an on and off thing for a while. And then one day I woke up, and it never ever stopped again until like 3 years later. And at that point, my legs were so severely damaged from all of the swelling and all of the pressure and all of the circulation issues that I developed a more severe extreme version of venous insufficiency called lipodermatosclerosis, which is like a late stage, I don't know, kind of thing. Some people actually end up having to get their legs amputated. It's just a big old long story, but I work really hard at keeping all of these things under control. That was the first symptom. Then I started getting extremely tired. Like, I mean, tired. I started going from waking up every morning at 5 a.m. every dang day. Didn't matter what was going on. I was a natural early bird to my core. I would get up at 5 a.m. every day, and I'd go to bed at 8. And I was just a busybody. I never stopped doing things. I always have to be doing something. And that's just the way that I am. It keeps me grounded. It keeps me sane. It makes me feel productive and like I am contributing something. So working and staying busy is really, really important to me. Hugely important to me. So when I started getting sick, all of a sudden, I couldn't sleep at night. I was, up until like 1, 2 in the morning, just tossing and turning. And then I would finally fall asleep. But then the problem was I would sleep until 1, 2, 3 o'clock the next day. So started going to bed earlier, and I thought, okay, this is probably going to fix it. It was a lot. It was really hard. Finally, I developed some new sleep habits, and that really helped me to start going to sleep easier, because I'd never had a problem before, but I suddenly did. So I worked really hard to fix that. And once I did, I was still sleeping, 10 to 12 hours a day. And even when I was awake, I was falling asleep all over the house. I was on ADHD medication. That didn't do anything. Like, I was just a total zombie all the time. And I genuinely think I developed some form of narcolepsy, because I could just be sitting there talking to you and I would literally fall asleep, like, in the middle of a sentence. Like, just, it was the strangest thing. But thankfully that part passed. I am still, like, fatigued beyond words. However, I no longer sleep that much, thank God. And what they say about my condition, I'm going to go ahead and pull my phone out really quickly, and I'm going to look at what the stats are, because they change from year to year. So stats. So I have something called heart failure with preserved ejection fraction. That is not the kind of heart failure that most people have. Most people have the kind of heart failure where their heart has a difficult time contracting. Mine does not. I have my ejection fraction is normal. It's at like 55, which is good. Really, really good. But the difference is my heart can't relax. So after it contracts, it can't loosen back up. Therefore, blood flow is tremendously impacted. So here's the stats usually. Roughly 75% of people hospitalized with HEPF in this study passed away within 5 years. Diagnosis have a reduction in both quality of life and life expectancy. 50% of patients with the diagnosis are not expected to survive more than 5 years. Preserved ejection fraction has a poor prognosis, with a 5-year survival rate after the first episode of 43%. Really hard to read, because I am year 5 of being sick. I was diagnosed 4 years ago, but I have been sick for 5 years now. It took about a year to get all of my diagnoses and everything in place. So that, that is minimal compared to what some people go through. But now that I'm here, from the very beginning, I have had trouble. I have been proactive. I have wanted to do anything and everything possible to live as long as possible for my baby boys, but especially this one, because he's so affected and it's just heartbreaking. So as you can see, my life is pretty complicated. It's pretty tough. And the one thing that I have found is that there aren't any resources. There aren't referrals to palliative care. A lot of the times, not even hospice, because of the trajectory of heart failure, because it's very up and down. It's very, very drug out. Like, it's a very long, miserable, slow process. It's rough. So here's the thing. When I went looking for assistance, resources, help, support, all of those things that you would think you could find, there was nothing for people with heart failure. Nothing. My assumption is that might be because a lot of people, especially with my kind of heart failure, but a lot of people with heart failure are older. But we're beginning to see heart failure younger and younger and younger. And it's just really heartbreaking to me. I see that so much for any other really terminal condition. It's a really tough situation, and sometimes it seems as if there are no solutions. I wish I could find a doctor who could do more for me. But finances, time, ability, just so many different things keep us from being able to travel out of state and get other opinions and other treatment options. There are just so many things that I could see benefiting the heart failure community that are not in place right now. I look on Google every single morning and I search heart failure, praying and hoping that there is new news that has emerged about a new treatment, a new trial, a new study, a new miracle breakthrough. And, while there is a lot of news, they typically don't tend to pan out into my life specifically. So that can get kind of frustrating sometimes. It's all good. So, I am busting my booty to get through this journey as long as I possibly can. I do not want my life to end anytime soon. I know that's out of my control, but I am going to do everything in my power to stay here, to stay with my boys, to be able to fulfill my dreams and, fulfill my purpose on this planet, turn this ugliness into something much, much more beautiful. So I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight. I would like to bring you guys along for the ride. The good, the bad, the ugly. I want to show people the reality of living with heart failure, the reality of living with chronic kidney disease and pulmonary hypertension. I want to teach people about, healthier choices that we can make in our lives that really go such a long way with keeping our bodies much healthier. I want to bring you guys along for hopefully some crossing off of my bucket list items. Like, that would be so much fun to bring you guys along for the adventures. When I first started this YouTube thing, I really was torn between life coaching and beauty. I would love to kind of incorporate some beauty content at some point if I can ever get the energy to consistently do my makeup and skin and all of that stuff. Well, I do my skin every single day regardless. Even if I'm dead tired, I'm still doing my skin, dang it. So that's about it for today. I think I have talked long enough. I could say so much more, but we're going to leave it here for today. If you have stumbled across this video, I'm so glad you're here. My videos probably won't be as fancy or well edited or as curated, I guess, as most people's are. And I'm asking you guys to please be okay with that. I am going to do my absolute best, and I am not a half-asser. Sorry, excuse my language. It's just the truth. So I like to do things the best of my ability. However, I'm also going to be realistic and practical, and I want to get as many videos up as possible. I want to document as many awesome memories as possible. I want to make as much educational content as possible, and I want to document my experience so that this is available to other people going through similar situations in the future. That is really, really important to me. So those are kind of my three big things that I am focused on. And it would mean the world to me if you would hit that like, subscribe button, and then go up to the notification bell and make sure to select all so that you get informed every single time I upload a new video. It would be amazing to have your support. I am so, so glad that you stumbled across this video. Cherish your life. Make every day count, because you do not know what tomorrow holds. As cliche as that sounds, it is the truth. Won't you join me on this crazy journey that I'm on? I would love it if you did. Please leave a comment below and introduce yourself. I would love to get to know you. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. I will be back very soon. Until then, I'll see you later. Bye, guys.